Hey everyone, it's Jeff from New York, your guide to everything New York City. The Civic Center is an area in Lower Manhattan that encompasses New York City Hall, one police plaza, and the courthouses in Foley Square. The district is bound on the west by Tribeca, on the north by Chinatown, on the east by the East River and the Brooklyn Bridge, and on the south by the Financial District. Although government-related activities are predominant, other pursuits also occur within the district, including entertainment, industrial activity, residential dwellings, and warehousing. For example, there are Chinese restaurants near the Civic Center's border with Chinatown, in addition to some museums and some residential buildings in the Civic area as well. The area is roughly 10 blocks long and 5 blocks wide, and it's far less dense than most areas in Manhattan with regards to residents. So let's poke around and see what's up in this neighborhood. Coming off the Brooklyn Bridge, you can pretty much get an eyeful of the entire New York City Civic Center. This is pretty much the area that governs the city and includes City Hall, courthouses, law enforcement agencies, and lots of other administrative buildings. New York City's Municipal Building is quite large, and the Landmark Building has some very unique features as you walk around it. Let's check some of them out. As seen on the side of the building, the Municipal Building was originally called Micmix, but many New Yorkers had a problem pronouncing it, so it just became the good old Municipal Building. If you have a challenged sense of humor, the MCMIX is on a cornerstone and is the year construction began on the building in 1909. Construction was completed in 1913. This is Chambers Street Station. The subway station goes directly underneath the Municipal Building. Dig that crazy tiled ceiling. Subway tiles have become increasingly popular for home improvement projects. Just go to your local home improvement store and ask to see some subway tiles. They'll show you tiles that look just like these. Here we are looking out from the entrance of the Municipal Building towards the street. It's sort of a false front to the building, unusual and very pretty. This tunnel and walkway with its magnificent ceiling lead to the New York Police Department headquarters. The tunnel goes right through the Municipal Building. This is One Police Plaza, New York Police Department's headquarters, and it's behind the Municipal Building. Dare to blow your horn on the Upper East Side? They'll bring you downtown and book ya. This is the back of the Municipal Building as seen from the NYPD Headquarters. The Municipal Building is beautiful on all four sides. There are street acts all over this city, and here we have a group of guys called Hip Hop Acrobats, and they're working hard today for that dollar. With nothing special going on, the Civic Center seems to be really busy for a Sunday. Something tells me this lamppost has been here a long time. It's located in front of One Police Plaza. This piece is by Tony Rosenthal, and it was dedicated in 1974. It's called 5 in 1, and is located in One Police Plaza. The 5 intertwined discs represent the 5 boroughs of New York City: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island. The city was fiscally strapped in the 70s and could not afford to finish the piece in the color red the artist specified, so it remained as unfinished steel. Unfinished steel in any city equates to graffiti canvas. Eventually the city realized they were spending more money on graffiti removal than the cost of finishing the piece, so it was finished as per the artist's specifications. This piece could use some restoration. It hasn't seen any work since its dedication over 40 years ago. The city relies heavily on its Adopt a Monument program. It's sort of like a Fund Me program for city art. Here we have a public sitting area in the Civic Center, and it also looks like we have a future Fashion Week diva. As you walk around the city, you'll find bicycles attached to just about anything that won't move. Maybe he was in a big rush, but you can't say he wasn't given fair warning. You'll find many of these large bronze sidewalk plaques throughout the Civic Center. Most include good information about the area's past. The one in this photo includes an old street map of the area. There's some odd street signage around the Civic Center. I can't seem to get any information as to the source. Perhaps mystery is part of the program. Okay, let's say you're in Manhattan and you want to go to the airport. JFK or the dreaded LaGuardia, it really doesn't matter. You've come to the right place. Unless you're in the right lane, which is wrong. If you're in the right lane, you're heading uptown whether you like it or not. Perhaps to see a show, check out Central Park, or visit the Bronx. Unfortunately, you're going to be missing your flight. If you're in the left lane and had no intention of visiting Brooklyn, well, you are now. If your car weighs more than 3 tons, most weigh about 2, and you're in the left lane, well, you're forced to break the Brooklyn Bridge weight law because at this point you must go over the bridge, and you should have weighed your car before you left home. If you're on a bus, your driver should have known better. You'll be pulled over on the Brooklyn Bridge by security and have to walk back to Manhattan. If you're a truck driver in Manhattan, well, God bless you. 2 lessons can be learned here. 1, take mass transit to the airport. And 2, use Newark Airport. It's just as close, if you're in the right lane. This is St. Andrew's Church, and it was built in 1939 and located on 20 Cardinal Hayes Place in the heart of New York City's Civic Center. The building has been called the best example of Georgian Revival architectural style in New York. Because of its location, it's fitting that the Latin on the building translates to, "Blessed are they who walk in the law of the Lord." These 2 buildings are the U.S. Courthouse and the Manhattan County Courthouse, both located at the Civic Center, and the 2 beautiful buildings are on the same square. It's very official looking, and I guess that's the point. This is Foley Square. This square, or gathering place, has an interesting history. It's located in the heart of the Civic Center where the courthouses, police headquarters, and St. Andrew's Church meet. The square was named after Thomas Big Tom Foley, a district leader and a local saloon owner. Foley Square sits on top of an African-American burial ground that was unearthed during the square's construction. It also sits on Collect Pond, which was one of the original sources of fresh water for the city until it was drained and filled in 1811 because of typhus and cholera outbreaks. That's what you get for disturbing the dead. The square was used as a triage center during the September 11th attacks. The Foley Square Green Market operates all year with the promise that all of the farm-picked fruits and vegetables have been harvested within the past 3 days. Because of the square's proximity to Chinatown, it's often host to large groups of people performing Tai Chi in the mornings. During the Occupy Wall Street movement, when protesters were forced out of nearby Zuccotti Park, they set up new ground here at Foley Square. The neighborhood around the square used to be known as 5 Points, home of many violent street gangs. Today it's a safe meeting place for many cultures and groups. On a personal observation, skateboarding is prohibited in Foley Square. However, it's set up very much like a skating park, with ramps, rails, stairs, even a water attraction. It's almost like a tease to the skater community. But like many rules in New York City, they're often broken by the determined, even in front of a courthouse. The sculpture in front of the fountain is called Triumph of the Human Spirit by artist Lorenzo Pace, a very fitting name considering Foley Square's past. Even on the sunniest days like today, sometimes it seems like the sunlight never reaches the streets in the canyons of downtown Manhattan. Thomas Paine Park is actually part of Foley Square. The park is named after a patriot, author, humanitarian, and political visionary. In the park is a statue of Abraham de Feister, a man who wore many hats in the city of New York, including mayor, comptroller, receiver general of the Port of New York, justice of the Supreme Court, and treasurer. A pretty busy dude. This is Federal Plaza, and it's undergone a recent $16 million transformation and looks fantastic. Some say it's very Vegas-like with its white marble, brass accents, and synchronized fountains coming up through the ground. The lush greenery, including magnolia trees, seems to bring all that marble and metal back down to earth. This is one of the nicest plazas in the area, and it should be with the amount of money spent on it. Then again, this is federal property paid for with your hard-earned tax dollars. Money's no object here. NYPD has cameras all over the city. Some areas, like here at Federal Plaza, the monitoring is done by the Department of Homeland Security. Listen, if you're up to no good and plan on terrorizing the neighborhood or simply want to pick your nose, you can't get away with anything in this city. You can't hide inside or out. Someone is always watching you. In my book, that's a good thing. This is just one of many unusual buildings currently under construction in the Civic Center. All over the city, they're building new buildings that are pretty scary looking from an engineering standpoint. I hope these architects know what they're doing. This is the New York Surrogates Court. This court is for all New York probate and estate proceedings. If your very wealthy uncle died and left no will, or left all of his riches to Spot, his faithful companion, here's where you go to straighten things out. The beautiful building is a national landmark. I'm going to go ahead and pat myself on the back for this photo. It's one of my recent favorites. It shows old construction, new construction, and under construction. The Civic Center has a really cool mixture of architectural styles. Take the Municipal Building. It's a classic design, yet it's urban. It's very New York City style. This is the United States Courthouse. And here we have the New York County Courthouse at the Civic Center of Manhattan. Many people think the city's bigwigs work out of the huge municipal building down the street. But in actuality, City Hall is where the mayor and his executive army hang their hats. Built in the early 1800s, It's one of the country's oldest city halls. It's also undergone some very extensive renovation work lately. City Hall is a beautiful building surrounded by beautiful grounds. Located in the heart of the bustling Civic Center, there's only one thing missing from these pictures: people. Security is tight around the grounds, and note this is just one of the many New York Police Department outposts. It's ironic that people are not allowed near the site where government is run for the people. I guess in New York City or any major city, it's ironic, but understandable. Horace Greeley was the founder of the New York Tribune. He also has a memorial right in front of Macy's in Midtown, but you'd know that if you were watching all of my videos. Mr. Greeley is one of several people with more than one monument in New York City. City Hall Park is home of lots of contemporary art displays, which are always changing. Let's go in the park and see what's going on today. Here we have several art installations at City Hall Park. They're always changing, like I said, and it's cool to come back here every once in a while to see what's new. This is Croton Fountain in City Hall Park. It's within eyeshot of City Hall, actually, and it's a beautiful fountain where people like to meet on a great day like today. And here we have just some more art in City Hall Park, or as others would call it, furniture. This is the Potter Building, or 145 Nassau Street, and is one of the many beautiful buildings in the Civic Center. The building on the site prior to the Potter burnt down in a massive fire within hours in 1882. The occupant at the time was a publisher called New York World. The publisher decided to rebuild and make the new building fireproof, as well as it could be back then. The 11-story building was constructed with thick brick and steel walls. The walls are 40 inches thick on the bottom floor. The exterior also features some of the most beautiful and detailed terracotta work ever seen on a building. The Potter is a designated New York City landmark and was converted to residential apartments in 1979. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to click on that little bell in the corner to be alerted of new videos as they become available.